I struggle to do the best that I can, and no matter what I say or what I do, I often feel like, sometimes some days are better than others, but often I feel like a kind of like a disappointment to others. I feel as if my mortality of my existence is not accepted. Like um, me personally, I'm not cherished or embraced for who I am, and who am I to other people. I feel like often I am a bother to other people. Like having recovered from the death of my best friend, having to have gone through all the obstacles that I've faced through for the past 2 years of my life is more than I've ever had faced through in the 34 years that I was alive. You know, and I had to create this video because often I feel like I'm often is seen only for my materialistic wealth, or my physical attractions or whatever, and my social status as a content creator or a public figure. I sometimes I feel like I'm not really recognized or seen for my mortality, or as a human being, to being screwed over, to have died 1,000 times just in order to still resuscitate your own breath of life, and having to deliver yourself outward into the universe, into the world, and constantly having to speak positive words of affirmations into the universe, trying to uphold the embodiment of life, going on in life and just making an attempt to stay 110% perfectly optimistic, trying to pretend to be like, not really necessarily pretend, but, I embrace my authenticity and my realness, but however, I try to be as close to perfection as possible. Although perfection in its complete purest form and its absolution is nothing in a realm of possibilities. So I try to be the most perfect person possible. And I often feel like, I'm a disappointment to others, and I'm just wasting their time. Or like, sooner or later, these people that I become attached to, eventually, just like Judas to Jesus Christ, they'll betray you. They'll find ways to screw you over. And me being authentic and real, like, that's not my intention whatsoever. And you know, I have to say, like, I'm truly sorry to anybody who I had ever hurt in my life. Obviously, that was never my intentions. My intentions were never to offend anybody, or disappoint anyone, or so my intentions were never to hurt anyone by any means. And with every tragedy, with every heartbreak, with every fucking disappointment in my life, it slowly drains away. It bleeds out my soul dry, and it dissipates into the airways, into just absolute nothingness. And I'm sick and exhausted of having to feel like I don't matter to others, that my existence, my mortality is absolutely nothing. I am enough. I matter to myself, and I may be a damaged soul. However, I have self-worth, I have value, I have integrity in myself, and all I do is treat others right. And, I try to get to know some other people, only to find, like, people end up ghosting, or like becoming distant. And when you're trying to become like attached to somebody, trying to get to know somebody and invite them into your life, and becoming distant, or when you put 110% of your validation, effort, and time and energy into somebody, and all they do is uh, either ghost or leave you up on red, or just sit there like not having to respond for like days on end, or this, that, or the other. Like, I don't fuck with that. I don't vibe with that, honestly. If you're going to be like distant, then you don't need to be a part of my life, because I'm in it to win it. Hashtag sorry, not sorry. I'm just trying to get to know somebody, at least, in my life. And when you're trying to get to know somebody in your life and someone's like distant like that, and then they gaslight you and turn it out to you to become the villain to portray in their story, because they have never made an attempt to get to know you, then that's all on them. To surround myself to enshroud myself in negative emotions, that's never my intention. My intentions are to project myself outwards into the universe, 110% authentically me, being a realist, and realistically, ideally, I put myself out there into the world to have others to relate to me, and I to relate to others. That, depression is very much a real thing. It's not demonic possession. It's not really a mental disorder or anything. It's all part of your natural being of the celestial soul and consciousness and gateways of who you are. And my heart has become a product of the abuse that I had to endure, and of all the things that I had to overcome personally in my life. And me, myself, and I had to overcome a lot of my obstacles from and within myself to find my own healing, to find my own self-worth and my happiness. And I constantly remind myself that I am enough every day of my life. And I have to believe in myself when nobody else does. And try to be the best human being possible in my life, and aspire for everything that I do in my life. And there's just certain things I will absolutely not tolerate in my life, and that's to be objectified. That's to be ignored out of existence and cast down into the depths of hell of oblivion, the eternal realms of the abyss of nothingness and emptiness, to be placed right back into the same familiar purgatory that I was born, initiated into. And I finally found myself to be like pulled out of purgatory. I crawled myself my way out of it, only to find that I'm, being attempted to be like cast back down into it by the hands of toxic people, or fake artificial people, or people who think that they have an upper hand against me for whatever reason. These people that try to vilify you, people who try to like gaslight you. And while in the meantime, while doing so, reminding myself I have not done anything wrong by other people. Like, I just continue to live my life in harmony